Morning Jack, morning Frankie, morning Luke. Going to do chapter 2 of the Watership down. Just get on it straight away. Chapter 2, The Chief Rabbit. In the darkness and the warmth of the burrow, Hazel suddenly woke, struggling and kicking with his back legs. Something was attacking him. There was no smell of a ferret or weasel. No instinct told him to run. His head cleared and he realised he was alone except for Fiver. It was Fiver who was clambering over him, clawing and grabbing like a rabbit, trying to climb a wire fence in a panic. Fiver, Fiver, wake up, you silly fellow. It's Hazel. You hurt me in a moment. Wake up. He held him down. Fiver struggled and woke. Oh, Hazel, I was dreaming. It was dreadful. You were there. We were sitting on the water going down a great deep stream. And then I realised we were on a board, like the board in the field, all white and covered with black lines. There were other rabbits there, bucks and does. But when I looked down, I saw the board was all made of bones and wire. And I screamed, and you said, "Swim, everybody, swim." And then I was looking for you everywhere and trying to drag you out of a hole in a bank. I found you, but you said the chief rabbit must go alone. And you floated away down a dark tunnel of water. Well, you've hurt my ribs anyway. Tunnel of water indeed. What rubbish. Can we go back to sleep now? Hazel, the danger. The bad thing. It hasn't gone away. It's here, all around us. Don't tell me to forget about it and go to sleep. We've got to go away before it's too late. Go away? From here, you mean? From the warren? Yes, very soon. It doesn't matter what there. Just you and I? No, everyone. The whole warren? Don't be silly. They won't come. They'll just say you're out of your wits. Then they'll be here when the bad thing comes. You must listen to me, Hazel. Believe me, something very bad is close upon us, and we ought to go away. Well, I suppose we'd better go and see the chief rabbit, and you can tell him about it, or I'll try to, but I don't expect he'll like the idea at all. Hazel led the way down the slope of the run, and up towards the bamboo curtain. He did not want to believe Fiver, and he was afraid not to. It was a little further after Imfrith, or noon. The whole warren were underground, mostly asleep. Hazel and Fiver went a short way above ground, and then into the open. Into a wide open hole, a sand patch, and so down by various runs until they were 30 feet into the wood among the roots of an oak. Here they were stopped by a large, heavily built rabbit, one of the ostler. He was curious, heavy grown of fur and a crown on his head, which gave him an odd appearance, as though he was wearing a kind of a cap. This had given him his name, Fila, which meant literally fur head, or, as we might say, bigwig. Hazel, said Bigwig, sniffing at him in the deep twilight among the root trees. It is Hazel, isn't it? What are you doing here, and at this time? He ignored Fiver, who was waiting further down the run. We want to see the chief rabbit, said Hazel. It's important, Bigwig. Can you help us? We? Said Bigwig. Is he going to see him too? Yes, he must. Do trust me, Bigwig. I don't usually come and talk like this, do I? When did I ever ask to see the chief rabbit before? Well, I'll do it for you, Hazel, although I'll probably get my head bitten off. I'll tell him you're a sensible fellow. He ought to know you himself, of course, but he's getting old. Wait here, will you? Bigwig went a little way down the run and stopped at the entrance to a large burrow. After speaking a few words that Hazel could not catch, he was evidently called inside. The two rabbits waited in silence, broken only by the continual nervous fidgeting of Fiver. The chief rabbit's name and style was Ferreira, meaning Lord Ronan Tree. For some reason he always referred to as the Ferreira. Perhaps because that happened to be only one Frere, or Ronan, near the warren from which he took his name. He had won his position not only by strength in his prime, but also by level-headedness and certain self-contained detachment. Quite unlike the impulsive behaviour of most rabbits, it is well known that he never let himself become excited by rumour or danger. He had coolly, or even some say coldly, stood firm against the terrible onslaught of myxomatosis, ruthlessly driven out every rabbit who seemed to be sickening. He had resisted all ideas of mass immigration and enforced complete isolation on the warren, thereby almost certainly saving it from extinction. It was he, too, had once dealt with a particularly troublesome stoat by leading it down among the pheasant coops, and so, at the risk of his own life, onto the keeper's gun. He was now, as Bigwig said, getting old, but his wits were still clear enough. When Hazel and Five were brought in, he greeted them politely. Also, like Toadflax might have threatened and bullied, but the Frere had no need. "Ah, Walnut. Is it? Walnut, isn't it?" "Hazel," said Hazel. "Hazel, of course. How very nice to meet you, to come and see me. I knew your mother well, and your friend." "My brother? Your brother," said the Frere, with the faintest suggestion of "Don't correct me any more, will you?" in his voice. "Make yourselves comfortable. Have some lettuce." The chief rabbit's lettuce was stolen by the ostler from a garden half a mile away across the field. Outskirters seldom or never saw lettuce. Hazel took a small leaf and nibbled politely. Fiver refused and sat blinking and twitching miserably. Right, that'll do, because it takes a little bit to unload, so let's pause it there and I'll do another bit, see if I can get the whole chapter done.